Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to In Time, the after show. My name, yeah, we may have stolen that, but I won't tell if nobody else does. Sorry. Yeah. Welcome to the after show. My name is Nicholas Lamar Soutter. With me today is our newest guest host, ProLib, Ethan. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So, tell us a little bit about yourself for those of you who do not know who you are.
Well, my name is Ethan. I have a political channel here on YouTube. Lately, it's been a lot of social commentary, but there's 200 videos on the channel. So if that's not your thing, there's plenty more to find. And yeah, come check me out. We've got a Discord and Twitter and all the good things over there on the channel.
Well, and so And then here's the interesting thing, which is I appear to. Well, I will check that out. For whatever reason, I can't see the live chat, but I will. That's
Oh.
every. I'm sure everybody else is going to be thrilled that I stay out of trouble. But now this is not your first foray into in time. We've actually had you on a number of times. You've been our political correspondent, which basically means if we have breaking news and we need somebody to know something about politics, we call you up at 4 a.m. and say, "Hey, something just happened."
And I go,
I have no idea. I'm explaining it to my wife when we were first doing this. I was just like, okay, my phone's going to be here. There's an emergency override. We were first, of course, doing it with Ansgar. I was like, Ansgar could call. Our producer could call. We could get any number of calls. She's like, what's it for? Oh, to start streaming in 15 minutes. It's like, really? I was like, it's not. We're not going to need it. And then, of course, the Iran thing happened, where Iran attacked Iraq, and it was just like, yeah, that changed things.
yeah, that was not fun.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a rough day. It was a rough day.
Yeah, for us here. It was a rough 2 week,
Yeah.
but we were doing
Well,
shows
that
three
too.
times. Yeah, but now with
Yeah.
coronavirus, it's like basically every single is just like, oh dear Lord, oh my God, yeah. So, anyways, you've been around. You've had us. You've been around a lot. We've enjoyed having you, and I'm really glad you could both come back as a correspondent because I oh God, sometimes I'm sitting there. We had the Michigan dam broke, and I'm just like, wouldn't it be fun if I could make someone else suffer the way I suffer?
Yeah. I do
So,
like to suffer. I do
yeah.
like to suffer.
Well, I noticed you're
So
here, aren't you?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the exact joke I was about to
And I stole it.
make.
Um,
It's okay.
yeah, I have no shame in those matters. Um, so, all right. Well, so you've got a channel. His channel is in the description. So please check it out. He does not yet have a wrench, which technically means that Tony Designs outranks you right now. I'll get into the live chat if I can, but yeah, that's the face I would make if I was in that situation as well. So uh, we are here tonight to talk about the stories from lockdown and from the pandemic. People have been telling us their stories of loved ones who've been going through it, or why they are scared to come out of their apartments because they're immunocompromised. In some cases, it's something that they've been born with and suffering their entire lives. In other cases, people are going through cancer and getting chemotherapy, and they can't, they're now obviously terrified. And stories of what people have seen when they go to the grocery store, or what they see when they go out and they talk to people. Sometimes it's people who are in denial. Sometimes it's people who are being compassionate about it. We've had a lot of people sharing stories, so thank you. If you want to join us, the link is in the description. It's on the center console there. You can call in if you would like. There's a pin if you call. Our Discord is available. Anyone wants to continue afterwards. We're going to shoot for about an hour today, but if it goes really well, we'll go past that. But we also already have somebody with us. Brendan is here. Brendan, how are you?
I'm good. I don't do much. I don't have a big channel doing anything, but somehow I'm allowed on anyway. So thank you.
Well, it's got nothing to do with the channel you've got. It's just about, if you. Oh, and since I'm on the presenting, it's gonna be. Oh, and I can mute you, which I think I will not do. But it's we're we're having some technical issues. If I cancel the presentation, that may do it. But I'll get to that in a second. But no, we you know what, we just appreciate people coming on to talk about what they've been seeing and what they've been going through. So if anybody wants to join Brendan, Harry was going to come back today, but he let me know he's not able to make it. Those of you who remember from last week, he's in Switzerland and had some interesting things to say about what was going on over there, but he was not able to make it back since it's about 3 a.m. for him, and obviously he's a wuss. Either that or he actually has something important to do tomorrow. But so let me, so Ethan, how about you? How have you been getting through this? What's been going on with you?
Well, funny you should ask. So for those who know me, I actually went to real estate school late last year to get my real estate license in South and North Carolina. And just as I finished school, all of the testing centers closed because once you finish the course, you have to go to a state-approved facility to actually take the test. And so I have my application in, everything's done and ready, but I literally can't go get my license because COVID-19 has all of the testing centers are closed due to COVID-19. I got a job at the census in late March at the highest rate that they pay. Census is on hold indefinitely. So I'm actually driving for Grubhub to make money right now and doing a little side hustle. I can't call it property management because in South Carolina, you have to have a real estate license to be a property manager. So I'm doing property supervision.
Okay.
Yes. So, and that is making ends meet. But yes, we are discussing some very drastic things because money is to say money is tight right now would be an understatement because I also don't qualify for unemployment because I was never, the census never started. And, I never got a real estate license.
Oh, Jesus. So you can't, yeah.
So, right. So
Oh,
I don't qualify for unemployment. So yeah, we're, it's very dire straits at the moment, to be perfectly honest. So,
well, I'm glad you can laugh about it. I suppose it's laugh or cry, but
yeah, not much else to do. So.
All right. So hold on one second. Well, let me see. So now, so obviously that's going to be a difficulty. Is there anything else that's going on? How's your family doing? How are friends? Has anyone been? What's the effect other people have had as a result of this?
Everyone is good, family-wise. Batsy has a sibling who is a cancer survivor. She's she's 16, I think. I might get that wrong. But so she is immunocompromised, so we can't really see her. She's got another, I think, step sibling. Batsy, you can correct me in the chat, who is also immunocompromised. And then we've got Batsy's daughter, my stepdaughter, who's 3.5, who has respiratory issues.
Jesus.
Who we think they think is child asthma, but she's too young to take the test. So we are being exceedingly careful, as careful as we can be, and wearing masks everywhere, every time we go out, and gloves and hand sanitizing and everything. So yes, so far we've been very fortunate that no one's been affected, but we've got some people, all of which are children, by the way. Or no, I think the step sibling, Batsy, correct me. I think the step sibling is right at the cusp of adulthood. But yes, so we're being very careful, and on my side of the family, nothing to report yet. So that's that's fortunate.
That is good. So how have you been getting food? How have you been getting supplies? What's been
well, we've got I've got my side hustle, I've got my Grubhub, so that's making ends meet for the moment. But it's getting to very. We're coming to a crossroads where we're gonna have to make some decisions about what we do financially, and we don't know. We don't have a plan going forward right now. Hopefully, my hope is that the census comes back and I can just do that, because that would solve all of our issues. But that doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon, unfortunately.
All right, and just a reminder to everybody who's watching, if you want to join, the link is in the description, and you can also read the link here, and you can call in by phone. Please do that, or else I have to keep talking to Ethan, and I'm sure nobody here wants to see that. So, did you get your stimulus check?
Yeah, that's come and gone, pretty much. So, yeah, Bragg, the census actually, would get paid at the highest level, which I believe was 18 an hour in our county, which is it's good money. That's that would pay all of our bills. So I don't need any more than that. I just hope that they. I hope that they find a way to let us do it. I understand why not, because we're going door to door, and that's that can put you in a tough situation. But it's what I have to do with Grubhub. So I can do that. We do non-contact. I put the food down.
Yeah.
And, text them and say, hey, your food's at your door. But yeah.
The voice lounge is not actually yet hooked up into the system. There's some technical issues hooking up the voice lounge from the Discord. I do apologize for that. I was not clear on that. So the Discord is not yet hooked up into the system. We can hear them, but they can't hear us. So that makes it a little. It's going to be a one-sided conversation. It is the kind of conversation my wife would prefer to have with me, but she doesn't always.
Yeah.
So. Ethan's and folks, Ethan's not laughing because he thought it was that funny. He's laughing because he's been there. He knows exactly.
I'm married too. I get it.
Yeah. So yep.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding, honey. Please don't get mad at me.
So we're not going to have, unfortunately, where that is something I'd like to try to get, is so that the Discord can just be piped right in here, and that's doable. But with everything else that this thing is doing, it's a little taxing on the system.
It's rough. You have to use there's ways to do it. You have to use some virtual audio cables, but it's complex for sure.
The last time I set that up, the audio went out on all my system, and then I couldn't use audio on Discord. So I could listen on the Discord, but it wouldn't switch the audio. So then the audio was, if I wanted to actually talk to anyone on Discord, I would have to actually hook up OBS and listen through it. I was like, no, nobody's going to want to see that.
It's these types of audio issues are why I bought this streaming computer for $150.
You're going to have to explain that to me. A streaming computer for $150.
Yeah, so it's a very basic. This was a PC that was in someone's office somewhere that they were just trying to get rid of, and I bought it, and it does the streaming. And whenever I need to use Discord's over on this computer, not on my main streaming computer. Or my main computer, I do all my graphics and everything. So all of that happens over here, and I route my audio through that computer. And then I do all of my fancy graphic stuff on this computer.
That's a good idea. I was thinking of doing that with my laptop and putting my laptop, because I do have a laptop. It's a much older laptop, but it can run, and all it has to do is be able to run Discord, and then just actually I was going to log Discord actually into the same Hangout that you and I are in, which was another way to do it without the virtual audio.
I can help you set it up. It's not.
All right.
It's not too hard.
All right. That would be a huge help. So,
sure.
All right, so everyone, once again, we have a link for people who want to come into the Hangout and join us and talk with us. We also have a dial-in number if you want to call in and join that way. We also do have a Discord. Unfortunately, that Discord, and we got, let's see, Batman. Oh, I didn't let Batman in here.
I like Batman.
Hey, how's it going? Hello? Chicken McLosing it or some, yeah.
You just call me Bragwin. I'm Bragwin in the chat.
Oh, hey, you're Bragwin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The volume is really low. I don't know if anyone else. I couldn't hear it first, but maybe.
Uh,
Can't fucking derp.
Make sure you're on the right microphone. It sounds like you might have the wrong microphone selected. It did that to me when I first came in. It was on the computer microphone instead of my fancy one.
See, oh god, I'm used to Zoom.
So at the bottom right is a 3-dot menu. The bottom right of Google Meet. Click that. Go to Settings, and then in Settings has your microphone and your speakers. And just make sure your Yeti is selected as your microphone.
Is that good?
There you go.
There you go.
Awesome. Because it had my camera as the microphone. Like my camera's.
By the way, my consultant fee is $300 an hour. You can send
Jesus!
as a progressive liberal at
No.
gmail.com.
No.
Are you sure you weren't a lawyer in a past life?
I'll get my assistant to send you over the billing.
Yeah. Well, send it to her. I didn't ask the question. Wait a minute.
I've been doing my adventures and doing my own hair for the past couple of months.
Hey, it looks way better than what I've got going on. I've got Trump light over here. Look at this thing.
I have flesh toned hair. How did I do that? Well, it was supposed to be rose gold, and like an idiot, I mixed developer with the Pravana pigment, which you're not supposed to do because then it's just a toner.
Batsy actually did my hair, and I'm joking. I like my hair. My hair, I like it a lot. But
yeah, I'm gonna try it again, and this time actually get rose gold. If that doesn't work, I am going to blue. Just
yeah,
blue
you should.
it. Just blue it.
You should. We did. Did we do blue on my hair or green? I don't remember now. And it was like a 3-step process. Batsy did the whole thing. She and the toddler went to the store, and she was like, "What color do you want to make his hair?" The toddler's like, "Green," and picks out a thing, and they come home. She's like, "We're gonna dye your hair green," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
May as well.
So I did.
But yeah, my hair color when I was a kid, my hair was a little bit darker than this. High school, copper red. Now it is literally mahogany black. And I got it from mahogany black to this without losing it. So I'm happy.
So I think I just wish I had invested in Flowbee before the crisis, because I'm sure that's my haircut. Yeah.
Wow, that is an old wow.
Wow.
Is it 1992?
Something to that effect. I know I'm showing my age, but Jesus.
Isn't that thing that you hook up to the vacuum cleaner?
To cut your hair? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
actually ordered clippers and shears, but everyone ordered clippers and shears at the same time we did. So ours haven't arrived yet. We ordered it. It was at least 6 weeks ago. We ordered those. So.
Yeah. We got ours, but they didn't help. I did so much damage to my wife's hair. She's still pissed at me. I was just like, I told you not to let me do it. I told you. It turns out it's a lot harder than just looking. So yeah, even with the no. That's yeah. So okay. So aside from cutting your own hair, what has life been like for you?
Okay, so I am immunocompromised. I have an autoimmune disease that I take Humira for twice a month. I am thankful that I have Medicare plus Medicare Part D. Otherwise, it would cost me something about around $7,000 a month.
Jesus.
Yeah. Now I pay, was it $8.95 a month? $8.95. But yeah, my mother, who I live with right now, is over 65, so she's susceptible to the virus. So me and my mother have not really left other than to go shopping for about 3.5 months now. Because as soon as we heard that what was happening in China, we were like, yeah, no, it's gonna make its way over. We're not stupid. So we started stockpiling then, like in January, getting necessities and everything, and then everyone all of a sudden thought that the coronavirus was the shits. It's like, what? Toilet paper. We had to get outside our right outside of our building. They had to get a plumber to literally stick the Roto-Rooter down there and get out a whole bunch of paper towels, wet wipes,
Oh,
things that you're not supposed to flush down the toilet because it plugged up the toilet and busted the pipe out there.
Oh, Jesus.
I know, like, why?
Yeah, we have a one of the properties I'm supervising right now.
He's legally required to do the quotes too. I mean, you think
Right,
it's funny,
exactly.
but if he doesn't do it, we get
Yeah.
all sued.
They'll come in here right now and be like, no.
Yeah.
But one of the properties just had 4 tenants move in because the university has already said they're going to have in-person classes in August.
Oh boy.
So whatever, the landlord's like, okay, we're moving somebody in. And I was like, okay. And we had to, in their lease, we had to say, the only thing you can flush is toilet paper and feminine products. It's the only things that you're allowed to flush, flushable, feminine, whatever, however you put it in the lease. For that very reason, because there was a condo that not the landlord, but the landlord's brother owns in Florida, I think, where the exact same thing happened. They ran out of toilet paper and they were using, I think it was paper towels, and they backed up, not just their condo, but like 3 of the other condos, all of them got backed up at the same time. So they actually put it in the lease that those are the things they're allowed to flush.
So just a quick interruption. So aside from just a reminder, anybody who wants to join us, the link is in the live chat. It's in the description and it's there. But also just an FYI, if you happen to live in Michigan, anywhere near Chelsea, Michigan, Tony Designs just dropped that his I think he said his brother, no, a friend of his, gave him 26 rolls of toilet paper as a gift, and he still has 25 left. Chelsea, Michigan, folks. Anyone who lives anywhere near Chelsea, Michigan.
Hold on, let me write
Tony
this down.
Designs. Yep, absolutely. I have no idea why he's putting that in the live chat, but that's fine. Okay.
Chelsea, can you spell that?
Yep. So it's 36. It's 36. Okay. Patton Road in Chelsea.
Is that O-N or E-N?
O-N. Yep.
O-N. Okay. Patton Road.
Chelsea, Michigan.
Zip code?
I don't happen to have that. I'm sure you can look it up.
And is there an apartment or unit?
No. He's got a house.
Okay. All right.
No dog, no security. And so what I'm doing here is this is what I'm saying is be neighborly and please protect that 25 rolls of toilet paper that he has said he is not using. So 25 pieces. He has no security. Nobody is watching. So it's up to us in his community to make sure that each of us get a roll. All right. So anyways,
and I know that Tony Designs is old school. He uses palm fronds. He doesn't even need the toilet paper.
Yeah, exactly.
I have that on very good authority.
All right, so I apologize for you can't sit there and drop that in the live chat and just like I still have 20. Dude, that's gold. That's gold, and you're dropping that in this live chat. Okay, fine, Tony, you do you. But all right.
But I will say something interesting though.
Yes.
I had one of my relatives, I'm not going to say who, happened to be a teacher, right? So whenever this started, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo was shut down. All over Facebook, because my family, for some odd goddamn reason, loves Facebook. Just bitching on Facebook constantly. They're just doing, it's just the flu, la la. And I guess they realized that their dad is a cancer survivor and immunocompromised. If he gets this, it's lights out. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they've been really accommodating, and I'm like, somebody got to you, didn't they? Somebody taught you something. I'm like, whoever it was, I applaud them.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
Jesus. God. But I have other my family members, Pentecostals. Lord help me. But 2 of them, they live together. They're the last 2 siblings out of 10. And both of them are immunocompromised. One of them has chronic leukemia. The other one has always had like a lower immune system. But neither of them are taking this seriously. Neither of them. It's like, you've already lost 8 of your siblings. You've lost your mother 2 years ago. She died when she was 108.
Oh my God.
She survived to 108.
So she survived the Spanish flu.
She survived the Spanish flu. She survived, God, what was that? I forget if it was yellow fever or scarlet fever. She lost one of her kids to scarlet fever back in the day. But, God. But it's like you literally have a very slow growing cancer in you. You are immunocompromised. Stay home. But good God.
And I think that's what a lot of people miss when they say, "Oh, well, I don't want to wear a mask." It's like, well, it's not about you. One of the, I don't even want to talk about this, but I'm going to. One of the trainings I was in recently with a brokerage, real estate brokerage I'm considering working with. That was one of the people. That was one of the arguments they made. That's why they were still going to do showings, because they weren't going to wear a mask. And it was okay if they got sick on the showings, but they didn't think that they were going to be fine. And the thing I was thinking is, what about all the people in your life that are immunocompromised or that are going to be, like you are, by not wearing a mask, affecting all of those people and anybody that they come into contact with? Like, you are an infection vector if you decide not to follow the guidelines. You are endangering so many people.
Well, and that's the thing about the masks that really bugs me, is we had to say that a lot during the early shows, and I still try to say it and forget often, because in my mind it's like, you should know that. This is the basic stuff you should know. The mask isn't to protect you. It actually does protect you a little bit, only because if you get any on your hands, it keeps you from putting it on your face. You'll still get it in your eyes, but technically it helps. It's like a drop in the bucket, but technically it helps you a touch. But that's not why you wear it. You wear it to stop infecting other people, because without the mask on, you can infect someone who's 6 feet away. If all you have to do is cough or do it with the mask on, it becomes 1,000 times harder to infect someone else. It's still
literally
doable. But
your infection vector drops to 1.5% if you and everyone else around you is wearing a mask. 1.5%. I mean, it's astonishing how irresponsible all of these people who refuse to wear masks are. It's abhorrent behavior.
It is.
A lot of these people. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
sorry,
go.
Okay. So a lot of these people, their main thing is, oh, the people back in World War II didn't have to wear a mask, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what the fuck did you think they did with mustard gas?
Yeah, that's stupid. So a lot of people don't know this. Right out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps. I got hurt in boot camp, so I didn't get to finish. I was a week and a half away from graduation when they said, no, you have to go home. Anyway, a big part of it is mask training, including going into a CS gas chamber. And you're taught, everybody does this. Well, you can't really see it, but you do this with your arms. You go gas, 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 and then you put on your mask. And everyone has to do that. And that's how you signal to everybody else that there's gas there, and that they need to put on their mask too. So before you put on your mask, you say gas, gas, gas. You put on your mask, then you do it again, gas, gas, gas. Like that argument is complete and utter nonsense. It's one of the most remedial things they teach troops.
And it's convenience. This all boils down to convenience and fuck your fellow man.
Yep.
It's
a lack of empathy. It's an absolute lack of empathy.
Yeah, and it's like your ancestors went through World War II, rationing, Spanish flu, all this crap. And they did that with they may have complained a little bit. There may have been people who went nuts, yes. But here you are in frickin' 2020 with the ability to at least block out the, most of the water droplets from getting others sick and yourself sick, and you scream like a little bitch with a skit knee at the very prospect of being inconvenienced for half a fucking hour, picking out your vegetables that were brought to you from across the fucking world.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, the entitlement of these people is astonishing. And I've been in a Twitter argument all weekend with David Silverman, the former president of American Atheists. Yeah, not get into that, but it's this same sense of willful ignorance and entitlement and a complete and utter lack of empathy for people who aren't you.
Yeah.
And it is it's deplorable, and deplorable is not a compliment.
Yeah. It is literally just, I mean, okay. I've also seen a lot of, I mean, even the highly educated can still be brought into this. Intelligence does not mean common sense, though it does help. But a lot of people are like, well, masks like this with a 2.5 micron filter in it. It's like, oh, the virus is smaller than 2.5 microns. It'll just slip through. However, the water droplets that it rides on is 3.5 microns and larger. Therefore, it'll catch it. Put it the fuck on.
Right. That's a great point. And a study just came out the other day that they believe, I think it was 87% of the infections are through are respiratory, breathing in infected droplets, not on surfaces. This virus does not survive well on surfaces. It's very, very susceptible to UV light, and it's very, very susceptible to, I think it's oxygen poisoning. I probably have that incorrect, but one of the gases that's in the air that we breathe all the time.
Probably
ozone. It might be ozone. I think that's what it is. I think it's ozone. Destroys it like almost instantaneously, like within a minute, it's dead. So the way that it's surviving is it's high. If it's stuck inside a water droplet that somebody sneezes or coughs out, it can sit there in the air for a while, and it can survive the UV and the ozone. I think you are right, ozone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just a basic cotton cloth mask will catch most of those droplets, and it will keep the virus from infecting you. It's so easy. These people are infuriating.
Yeah. I mean, even was it Bexar County a few days ago? Some idiotic, I don't care what political party they're from. This idiotic politician, finished her speech off saying that the coronavirus is just a democratic ploy to shut down the nation, for everyone to take off their mask and hug their neighbor.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I'm like, turn to your partner, do-si-do, stick a knife in, don't let go.
Right. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Jesus.
Well, those kinds of, and the protests have been in particular what, the people who sit there and say it's your patriotic duty to go out. And first of all, and what I've noticed about most of this is it turns out that our patriotic duty usually has to do with us being consumers. So it's your patriotic duty to go out and spend money, to go to a beach, and to go to it. And that's really funny, because World War II is one of those times that this country should be really proud of. And we sat there and we completely revamped our economy. We rebuilt how this country functions to win two wars, actually a war on two fronts, depending on how you choose to view it. And now, well, gee, you shouldn't put on a mask, but what you really should do if you're going to be a patriot is go out and spend money and make sure those big corporations are okay. That's unfortunate.
Well, we can't lose the airlines.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I wasn't talking about. I wasn't talking about. Of course, not the airline.
Will come up.
Well, how is it, by the way, that okay? So, why is it that it's not free market when something bad happens and an airline that wasn't lean enough and wasn't prepared with enough cash reserves for lean times, they go under? Well, it's not their fault. It was the coronavirus.
Right.
But the rest of the time they're like, well, we don't pick winners and choosers. That's exactly what you're doing when you bail out the airlines. You're picking winners and choosers in a national crisis.
Okay. So I'm a dirty capitalist, right? And I invest in the stock market. I have almost none of it left, but I still have got some of it left, and I hope to leave it there because I'd like to have something. And one of the stocks that I own is American Airlines, because it's on sale right now. But it's highly risky because American Airlines, of all the airlines, is the most over-leveraged. They've got a lot of debt. So I'm taking a big risk by buying American Airlines. But I don't believe in American Airlines. I just believe that the government is going to keep them. I'm being perfectly honest. And,
that's what you should.
I think the stock is $9.80 right now, down from $50 or so. I mean, it was in a good spot. The argument is, I'm sorry. I'm almost done.
No. Go.
So the argument behind floating the airlines is this. Air travel is required for commerce. Air travel is required for movement between the states. You know, if I want to get to California, it's the most efficient way of getting there. This is all their argument, right? I'm not making this argument. This is their argument. Don't at me.
His link is in the description, folks. So is his Twitter. Please continue.
It's also about how many people they employ. I believe it's 30,000 people employed by airlines in the United States. Somebody needs to fact check me on that number. I don't remember if that's United itself or that's all the airlines, but it's a substantial amount of people. And so the argument for propping them up is that they are so big and so large that if they go under, it's a significant loss to the economy because it's so many jobs lost at the same time. Right now, of course, it's a relatively low number because the unemployment rate is so unbelievably high. And there are a lot of people like me, which I don't count as an unemployed person because I was not employed and then lost my job, right? I was moving into a new career and then the career just wasn't there. So that's why someone like me doesn't count as unemployed. And I'm sure there are, a couple million people like me with similar stories. So the reason that the airlines, that they don't want the airlines to fail is that they are consumed with making sure that Adam Smith's hand exists, even though it actually doesn't.
I think, yeah. I've seen the same argument too with closing military bases in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep everybody employed, so they say let's not close the military bases, despite the fact that the Pentagon says we should close them. They don't need them, and it's costing a lot of unnecessary money. And people say, well,
right.
Think about and it's sort of like, okay, but when a green company needs help to stay afloat, and it's going to help the environment, it's an investment in our future. Like, well, no, that's socialism. We can't put any money into the, Republicans are against big business unless it's the businesses they invest in, and then suddenly
right.
they're yeah. So I'm sorry, what were you going to say? I think
Bregman, you were going to say
something? I forgot, but
oh, well, I've got something. It annoys me because I'm into socialism. I'm a social democrat. I'm not really a socialist. I'm more of a progressive liberal, honestly. So that's why that would be where I got the name.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that the way that you prop up the economy is by propping it at the bottom. That's why I'm a progressive and not a regressive. It's a tax terminology. So I firmly believe that if you keep the bottom of an economy higher, it raises the rest of the economy. If you just take the top of the economy and you keep pulling on it, it just stretches it up. So I think that if we could it's one of the reasons why I'm in favor of income caps. There's no reason why Jeff Bezos needs to be a trillionaire. Literally not. If you took 200 billion away from him today, he wouldn't notice. His lifestyle would not change at all. There's nothing on earth that costs $1 trillion. Think about that for a second. There is nothing that you can buy for $1 trillion.
Space
nothing.
Program.
Maybe the moon. I don't know.
Yeah, like things that are
maybe he wants
incalculable.
a space program. Huh?
So there's this theory in real estate. Okay, it's about doing a market analysis. If you want to do a market analysis on a piece of real estate, well, there's two different types. You can do a comparative analysis, right, or you can do a cost analysis. You can't do a comparative analysis on something like a library because a library there isn't a comparable property besides other libraries. And when was the last time another library was built or was sold? Those things happen so rarely that you can't use a comparative analysis like you do with somebody's home. So you do a cost analysis, and you can do a cost analysis of what would it take to replace the building with current materials, or what did it take to build it in its original materials cost out today. Those are two different types of analyses. And So the only thing that costs $1 trillion would be something like a space program. That what do you compare NASA to? I mean, SpaceX. Like those two things aren't comparable, right? So
No.
you can't even say that it costs $1 trillion because no one knows. There's no way to figure out if it costs $1 trillion.
Yeah, plus the thing that a lot of people who are defending, just sky high income, I don't know. It's like the idea of an economy is that money moves, right?
Right.
Money has to move, has to change hands, it has to keep moving for the economy to function. But if you sequester that money in whatever, I'm not talking about, savings accounts or whatever, I'm talking about gigantic funds,
Right.
or in the case of Jeff Bezos, in one person, that takes all of that power, that moving power out of the economy and stalls it out. It's like sucking the fuel out of the gas tank, saying that you don't want to use it. Well, you're
Right.
going to have to go somewhere, aren't you? And then it stalls out on the highway. It's like, well, where's the other gas? Well, it's back at home. All that. It needs fuel to move. So does the economy. So it's just
Right.
like, why? It's just greed.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's literally all it is. I remember reading, I think it was in the book Dark Money. I don't remember where it was, but it was talking about these billionaires who they were just trying to make more money so they had more numbers than their other billionaire friends. When you get to a certain point of like $75 million, it's hard to spend $75 million because it's hard to find something that costs that much where you can just kind of move that kind of liquidity. Like moving $75 million is difficult. Have either of you watched Ozark yet on YouTube?
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay. Great show. Everyone should go watch it. But very early on, they're money launderers for a Mexican drug cartel, Jason Bateman and Laura Linney. It's fantastic. It's so good. But early on, the drug cartel wants him to move like $7 million. They want him to turn $7 million that's in all these different accounts into cash, put it all into cash and move it. Okay. I'm trying to avoid spoilers here for anybody that watches it, but it's very early. I think it's the first episode. And he has so much trouble going to these banks just to get $7 million in cash. And when he finally gets it, he goes into the vault and there's 2 FBI agents there. And the one FBI agent is holding up a piece of paper that says, has someone been kidnapped? And the other one's waving a wand over him looking for a wire. And he's like, no one's being kidnapped. If I want to get $7 million and play act as Scrooge McDuck in my vault, I can do it, right? But the storyline is about the banks themselves. It's so difficult to get that kind of money. And that's just $7 million. Can you imagine if you tried to get $1 billion in cash? That would be really, really difficult. It would be difficult for the banks to get $1 billion, 100 million. Let's just talk about 100 million.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about 100 million. That would be exceedingly difficult for banks to amass that amount of cash to give to you, even if it was your money. And we're talking about $100 billion. We're talking about $1,000 billion, $1 trillion. I mean, the comparison is so insane. It is difficult for the human mind to truly fathom the difference between $1 million and $1 trillion. And if you think it's not, there, go watch that. Tony's going to know what I'm talking about. There was some guy that did a comparison with beads of rice, comparison of what 100 million and how much money Jeff Bezos had, and each grain of rice was worth $100,000, and Jeff Bezos had like 20 pounds of rice or 40 pounds of rice, some giant.
Yeah, I saw that.
So the idea that they need that much and that they deserve that much is absolutely insane to me. And I don't believe that businesses can be too big to fail. I think that if you have mismanaged a business and the business comes on hard times, then I'm sorry, but the business doesn't need to continue. And other businesses will rise in its place if we prop up the bottom of the economy, which is something that we don't do right now, which is why it's so hard for people to start small businesses and go into business for themselves and be successful and employ other people, because we don't construct it right.
Yeah, it's I think it comes down to a lot of people not, I mean, just having no imagination when it comes to the actual future. All they can imagine is what is here now. That is it. That is all it will ever be. It's kind of like whenever you see those pictures that people from like the 1800s drew of the future. All they had was what they knew.
Right.
So what they knew is what the future would be. And
Right.
this is all they can think of, and they can't think any further out.
Well,
They
these
can't think-
people are so obsessed with themselves. Like, all they know is their own opinion.
Yeah.
That's all. They're obsessed with, how does this affect me? And they don't have the moral courage to consider strangers, to consider other people's feelings, because their feelings are what matter. And
Yeah.
they're such cowards. Every single one of them is a complete and utter coward. Because they're just terrified that things in the world may not fit their worldview, that someone may disagree with them, and that someone may truly believe, have true convictions of empathy for strangers, and it's completely foreign to them. They can't conceive of it.
Let me interrupt for one quick second. We are going to be wrapping this up in about 10 minutes. So I also just wanted to remind, in case anybody wanted to come in for the last 10 minutes, the link for the Hangout is in the description. You can also call the phone number, for those of you who still remember what a phone is also in the description. And we have been dropping the links in the live chat. Hopefully we'll get one more out there. And, like I said, maybe about 10 more minutes. And then we will call it a night. But thank you. So were you going to, so how do you pronounce it?
Bregwin.
Bregwin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I think you were about to say something.
Oh, was I? I don't know. I'm sorry. No, probably not. Oh, yeah. If anyone else wanted to come in and there was limited capacity, I could drop out if they wanted.
No, we're good. Well, no, the capacity in this room is pretty much unlimited, so we're
Okay. Cool.
we're good. And in fact, we've had a couple of these we've gotten upwards of about 10 in the it does start to get a little unmanageable then. But no, I think we're doing well. So
well, Dr. Zayas just asked a great question.
Oh yes, all right.
So,
all right, well, let's let's do that.
Yeah, he says, if I think we should have let Chinese investors buy GM when they went bankrupt in 2009. I thought a lot about that. I've gone back and forth on that. I easily 10 times since it happened. At the time, I was very much against it, and said what I say now, that we should have, if GM couldn't survive, then GM should have failed. And then I was convinced that, no, that's not true. There were so many people, same argument about the airlines, right? There's so many people that are employed by them that if we let GM fail, oh, it's okay. It's okay, Zay. Don't worry about it. If we let them fail, there's going to be so much heartache. But, I think the last, especially since COVID-19, but the last like 3 years have really convinced me that I just don't believe in corporate welfare. I don't believe in corporate socialism. Once you're a publicly traded company, if you can't make it, then you didn't make it. I believe in again, I believe in government grants and government loans to get small businesses started, just like we do with homes. We have whole organizations of the government dedicated to helping people buy homes. We need to do the same for small businesses. And yes, we have the Small Business Administration. I know we have agencies there, but they don't have the same kind of power that that the agencies do for first-time home buyers and rural home buyers and farmers and things. And I would like to see, what if instead of GM, we had 10 other car makers come up and buy those GM factories and start designing and making their own cars. Wouldn't that be better for the economy? Wouldn't that be better for competition?
Would have some real innovation.
Right. So here's my full answer. In our current economic climate and the way that we treat corporations in the United States, probably it was best that we let Chinese investors buy GM. But if we could make certain reforms in order to raise up the bottom of our economy and make it so that it was easier for people at the bottom to get to get at least to the middle, if not the top, then I think letting GM fail and letting other people start auto businesses in their place would have been the right decision. But unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in.
Well, that was, truth be told, that's in part how Tucker started with his company, was because of gaps left in between the big three. And if the big three had been allowed to fail, there you might see some serious innovation that had been stifled before. The interesting thing is, free market capitalists tend to think that a free market is the height of efficiency, but that's only because they define inefficiency out of the equation. Right. So, for example, part of the inefficiencies are defending yourself against other corporate raiders. So, the best example of this that I'm aware of is Bitcoin. So, if you have Bitcoin, God damn it.
Yeah. So why did you have to bring this up?
Okay. Yeah. we're gonna need to start wrapping it up soon. But if you have Bitcoin, and the way Bitcoin worked was essentially exactly what free market capitalists said at first, which is to say that a lot of innovation was going into mining Bitcoin faster and getting more and more out of the Bitcoin algorithm. Now, there's only so many Bitcoins total that can ever be mined. So at one point, what happened was they had mined enough that it became so difficult. They started to mine in pools. They started to pool their resources. Great, again, innovation. But what they started to realize was, okay, if we put another $1 billion into hardware, that's not going to really change our chances of getting Bitcoin significantly out of the this algorithm. But if we have another pool that goes out and does denial of service attacks to other pools and to their software and how they're doing the mining, if their chances go down because there's a limited number of coins, mine go up. And right. So, now that is not considered inefficiency. I have no idea how that's not considered inefficiency. But in a free market system, that's just, quote, the cost of doing business. No, it's right. It's inefficiency in the market. I have no idea. I don't. Somebody needs to explain that one to me because I've never figured that one out.
I always found Bitcoin to be the absolutely most hilarious thing because you are literally leveraging money against the heat death of the universe.
Yeah. Listen, I love trading the stock market. So little secret about me I've never talked about before. I love trading the stock market. I trade I'm not any, I trade 10 shares at a time and stuff. I'm not any kind of guru or anything. I just enjoy it. And I would never have and would never trade crypto. It is absolute insanity to me. I will never ever touch it. I would do Forex before I would ever do crypto. It's just nonsense. It's complete and utter nonsense.
It's gotten to the point where the only way that you can actually get into crypto is if you are already rich.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's like buying Amazon stock. Mm-hmm. Amazon is, I think, $2,300 or $2,400 a share right now for one share.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, Tesla's probably going to hit 1,000 soon, $1,000 a share, which is also crazy.
But okay, speaking of Tesla, I enjoy what Elon Musk is doing. It's called fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what he's doing. He's failing until he makes it because he's to get the technology up to the point where you can start making money off of it, and then everyone else piles in. I get what he's doing. I really do. It's just...
I get what he's doing. I respect what he's doing. I don't know that respect is the right word.
I acknowledge the badassness of it.
I acknowledge the badass. There you go. There you go. I do acknowledge the badassness of it. Sure. It's badass. It's badass. I want a Cybertruck. I'll be perfectly honest. I want to own one of those vehicles. I truly do.
Except what he named his kid. That's just like...
Well, what did he name his kid?
Grimes.
Josh? No. It's this weird string of characters.
Yeah,
that's
they
supposed
actually had
mean
to
with
change it. Hold on, I actually posted this today.
Yeah, they
So they
changed
had
the
to
12 at
change
the end.
his name. I've got the
Well,
story right here. I got the story
yeah.
right here. So the name was originally XA12. The new name is XA-G XII because it had to conform with California law.
Yeah.
I will link this for you, Nick.
Please do. I'd like to.
In our backside chat here.
Okay.
I'll
Oh
link this
dear
story
Lord.
for you.
Okay.
And it also, if you scroll down a little bit in that story, it shows Grimes' original tweet, how she explained the name. The A12, she says, is the precursor to the SR17, which obviously she meant the SR71. She claimed she mistyped it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kid is going to grow up sounding like an old modem.
Don't know.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm just like, no. Why do you
Yeah.
do that to a kid? I can understand
Yeah.
Apple or Pookie, but that? How do you even say that?
No. That's I think. Well, first of all, I mean, to some extent, everybody's going to say, "Oh, your dad's Elon." We understand, but
Yeah.
kids can be vicious enough in school. I think having a name like that really is.
All he has to do is say, "My dad launched a rocket into a car on a rocket into space." And
That's true. That's
all
true.
right, you're cool.
You're cool.
Yeah.
I do think he's hit the.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
he's okay. I think he's all right.
I'd be interested to see if they actually do get that Mars colony off the ground, literally in both senses. So,
Yeah, well, we'll see. They're sending astronauts up Wednesday on the Dragon. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus the boosters that can actually land themselves.
Yeah,
That's
those are cool. Those are
That's
freaking.
Yeah, that is
I love those
insane.
things. Yeah,
That is insane.
I remember when he first talked about that. I was like, I don't know, you're gonna get that working, and they do
Yeah.
it. They landed on a barge in the middle of the ocean. It's freaking crazy.
Well, and I'll admit.
The first time they tried it, it exploded, and they
Yes.
renamed the barge. Yes, I still love you. So.
Yes. Yes.
Well, and you see that kind of thing too. It's I mean, I remember when so with the very first, like with the Apollo missions, the only part of the whole thing that was reusable was the astronauts. I mean, literally everything else gets lost. All of it. There was nothing else that was reusable. So the whole point of the shuttle was to try to reuse at least some of it, but it still was such a little part of it that was actually reusable. And I didn't think you'd ever find a way to like reuse SRBs or anything like that. And oh my god, but
yeah, he made a space plane.
Yeah.
It's a rocket-powered space plane, but it's there.
And the rockets just come back down, get rechecked, get refueled, and set back up. And it's like,
and what's crazy is Boeing started on a space plane in the 60s.
Yeah.
And couldn't get it to work. And Elon Musk did it himself. Well, with a lot of engineers, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Crazy stuff.
I think what really makes it work is that he has a lot of passionate people, and Elon Musk himself is a nerd. So that makes it really, really well.
And he drives his people very hard. He asks a lot of them. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so successful as a leader, because the best way to lead people is to inspire them.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't like the moniker of leading by example, because it's not always about leading by example. In other words, Elon Musk can't lead an engineer by example, right? Because he's not an engineer.
Yeah.
But he can work hard and say, look how hard I work. I need you to work as hard. I'm working at a different thing. I'm not, I can't do the advanced shit that you do. And I think that's why people are so enamored with him and why they succeed so well with him.
I think it's because he has imagination.
Yeah,
he
that's
actually has imagination.
No.
That's it.
So it's like he has the ability to innovate because he has the ability to imagine instead of being stuck in the same thing for decades.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that, I think we are going to wrap things up. But
can I plug something real quick?
Please.
So my channel just hit 1,000 subscribers, and thank you to everybody who subscribed and everybody who tweeted out or put it out on social. There was so many people that the other day were like, "Oh, I just put it on this. I just put it on this." And thank you guys. That was amazing. So Wednesday night on my channel is the 1,000 subscriber policy, and we're going to talk about my new favorite turkey, David Silverman. So 9:00 Wednesday night.
All right.
Be square.
So, and link is in the description. Thank you all for joining us. We have coming up the conversion, our first conversion story of Cy Gart, how he became a theist, how he went from an atheist to a theist. We also have our Patreon hangout coming up. We do those the first Monday of every month, so we got that coming up next week. And then we have the let's see. Well, I think we got a couple of things coming up. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave that for now. We actually have Matt Dillahunty scheduled for, I think, early next month. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to be discussing the importance of debate in a modern setting. Do debates still matter? How do you prep for a debate? What do you do? Because he's had some interesting ones. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has actually really also set the bar, really, when it came to that Sci 10 debate. So we'll be discussing that and a few other things. In the meantime, look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday when we discuss the conversion story of Dr. Cy Gart. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Ethan, for coming in, and thank you, Bregwin. Why can I never forget? Wow.
Bregwin.
Bregwin. It's not like I haven't seen your name every day for the last 6 months, but okay. I'm dyslexic as all. Now that you're actually here, I'm going to need to. I'll have to readjust things. But thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all again on Wednesday. Have a good night. Bye.
Good night, everybody.